Honorable Regional and Local Authority Councillors, Madam Teopolina Hamtumwa, the Chief Regional Officer for Oshana Regional Council, traditional and spiritual leaders that might present, I would like to recognize Mr. Matthews Thiego for giving us a prayer. Would also like to recognize the security clusters. I'm seeing men and women in uniform over there. Members of the media, especially NBC, who has been with us throughout when we started. This group started from Opuo to Omsati. Today we are in Oshana. I would also like to recognize the captains of industries and business communities. I have heard the presence of NALOBA and NCCI. The community of Oshana at large, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am truly honored to stand before you today, not only to speak, but to listen, to learn, and to work with you on this important journey we are embarking together as a nation. Namibia has entered a new chapter in its history. After years of exploration, significant oil discoveries have been made off our shores, and these are the discoveries that carry the potential to transform our economy and open new opportunities for our people. Oil itself does not automatically bring jobs, reduce poverty, and deliver prosperity. But it is only through careful planning, fair policies, and when we put Namibians first, that this discovery can become a blessing for our nation. Therefore, we are here today to engage with you on the local content policy. This policy is already approved by Cabinet and is now placed before you, the people of Oshana, for your input. It's our national framework to ensure that our people, our businesses, and our communities benefit directly from Namibia's petroleum resources. What is this policy that we are talking about? The National Upstream Petroleum Local Content Policy. I would like to explain to you and what it wants to achieve. This is a policy that is about ensuring that Namibians are not left behind by the opportunities that are created by the oil discovery in the country. Therefore, it is a government's commitment to ensure that oil companies that have entered the Namibian market should employ Namibians. They must train and develop our children and our young people. They must source goods and services from the Namibian businesses. Therefore, NALOBA should really be available and avail your goods and services so that you can benefit from what the market is availing. And it's not only NALOBA, it's also NCCI and also some other members of the business fraternity. They must transfer knowledge and technology to our people. It's about ensuring that a wealth from oil flows into our homes, into our schools, into our clinics, into our communities where it matters most. This policy is very important, and I would like to give you some practical examples to say if a company needs about 100 workers, as many of those jobs as possible should go to Namibians, especially our young people, our women, and those that are coming from the previously disadvantaged backgrounds. If companies require services such as catering, transport, accommodation, security services, accounting services, legal services, and all other services, these services should be sourced locally so that it creates business opportunities in our own towns and also in our regions. If specialized training is needed, it is our young people, our learners, and our students who should receive the bursaries and scholarships to prepare them for the future career in the industry. Honorable Governor, this policy is not only about jobs, it's also about building a future where Namibians own, manage, and prosper from the oil and gas industry. How will we make sure that we achieve the targets of this policy? The policy sets out clear rules and targets. Oil companies will be required to put up plans for empowering Namibians. Oil companies will be monitored. They would be required to report on progress and held accountable. Government will ensure strict enforcement so that promises translate into real benefits to the Namibian people. We know too well from other countries and from experiences that oil, if not managed well, can become a curse where benefits are captured by the few, corruption thrives, and communities are left behind. Namibia is determined to follow a different path. And that is why you have heard that we, as the 8th administration, and as the President have pronounced herself, the oil and gas unit resort under the presidency. And the President has put this under her office to ensure commitment, to make sure that whatever processes that are happening are transparent enough, and that at the end of the day, there is accountability. Therefore, the government is very committed to this. The local content policy is our safeguard. It is our tool to fight poverty, to build skills, to create businesses, and to ensure that every Namibian has a fair chance to benefit. Let us all reject fronting, where local people are used as mere tokens without true empowerment. We need to embrace genuine participation and uplift people, develop communities, and strengthen our economies. Together, we will rise. Fellow Namibians, this is our important platform and an important moment. This is an opportunity to ensure that the black gold that is discovered in our water is transformed into real gold for every Namibian household. Let us build strong partnership, not only with investors, but also with each other, as business people and as individuals. Let us support our young people, empower our entrepreneurs, and hold ourselves accountable to the highest standard of transparency and fairness. Honorable Governor, ladies and gentlemen, this consultation is your platform. We want to hear your voices. We would like to listen to your ideas. We also want to take note of your concerns that will shape the final local content policy. Together, let us make it a tool that reflects the aspirations of all Namibians. Honorable Governors, I alluded to earlier to say this policy is already approved by Cabinet. When we took it to Cabinet and it got approval, Cabinet wanted to find out whether there were inputs from the regions of the country, all the 14 regions. And therefore, as we are here, we are in 3 groups. There is a group that has gone to Karas Hardap, Omaheke, Ochozonjupa, and Erongo region. There is a group that has also gone to Kavango East, Kavango West, and Zambezi. And our group have started in Kunene region. We were in Omsati. Today we are here in Oshana, and next week we are continuing with Oshikoto and Ohangwena region. And this is all being done to make sure that at the end of the day, when we finalize this policy, the inputs of Namibia in totality are captured. And that is why we have come today to engage the people of Oshana. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your presence, your participation in advance, and your commitment to building a brighter future for ourselves, for our children, and for the generations to come. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Shilunga, for that keynote address. O ahorike o poimapo tapupopiwa o mahori amonika moshilongo shetu. O elalakano ne loshinyangadhalwa shonena okutala emito odo Namibia tadulu okumona mo process ayi yomaholi amonika moshilongo shetu ngenge tashikeya ne po production, development and production. O Meme Shilunga kwafatulula kutya openo policy oyo yatulwapo kepangelo ili natango mo processa yokufinalizewa oyo yaningilwa yanuninwa yanja ilo okay. So, okay.
Yeah, I think we are good with English. Only one comrade there, but is a neighbor to a young person. Can you please help? Okay.
Na wabumbo kutorokera tati. ¿Cómo es que tati? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm also a foreigner in this area. I'm not quite acquainted with where the restrooms are. We didn't make that announcement. Sorry for the Tate to come. Okay. 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 Yes. Now we are continuing with our program, and for us now to understand the process of the oil and gas development and production that I just mentioned, that we are here with the draft policy on local content policy that Meme Shilunga has just alluded on. I would like to call upon Mr. Petrus Sindiba from NAMCO. He's the Field Development Manager in NAMCO, to come and give us the insight of how the process of acquiring this oil and gas and the process of getting it out of the ground, so that we have a basic understanding of what we are talking about today. So, Mr. Petrus Sindiba, the floor is yours.
Members of the team. Okay, well, before we start with the presentation, I would just like to introduce the team, and I would like them to come in front here. Can you please just come forward? Where are the other members of the team? Okay, I will start with Mr. Sindimba. Mr. Sindimba is from NAMCOR. We are going to have two presentations. The first presentation is from NAMCOR, and this presentation is going to tell us, to give us an overview of the oil and gas industry in the country. How do we find oil? Where did we find oil? And how do we get revenues from this oil that we are talking about? And if we are saying we want people to get employed and so on, and to be given businesses, what is it really that we are talking about? And then the second presentation is going to be done by Mr. Joseph Amakali. Mr. Joseph Amakali is my technical advisor, and he is going to give a presentation now on the local content itself, what it entails. Of course, I've spoken about it, but just a bit. He will now go into details of what it entails. And Mr. Sindimba, can you just tell us to what your position is in NAMCOR?
Okay, I'm an engineer, so I'm in charge of taking these discoveries to production, field development manager. So we are going to have a journey, taking those discoveries slowly by slowly until we see the oil on the surface. So I'm working with the investors on how we can do that.
Okay, very good. And Madam Hendrina Simon, who is our, can you come closer? Who is our director of ceremony? She is a geoscientist, a chief geoscientist. Geoscientist. Okay, yeah, so she's from the Upstream Petroleum unit. And then we have Mr. Please come and introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Sam Thimende. I'm a Chief National Development Advisor at the National Planning Commission, heading the Policy Coordination Division. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, because policies are made and approved by national planning. Therefore, amongst ourselves, we have national planning just to look at the process of this policy, because one of their questions is also to find out whether the regional consultations were really done. Very good. And then Madam Ferstade Shongela, this lady is my private secretary. Thank you so much. Of course, I don't want to leave the NBC. Where is the NBC crew? behind there. They are also part of the team. We have started together and we are going to end together. So thank you, NBC, for your presence throughout the process, and that's the team that is here representing the presidency, Upstream Petroleum Unit. Thank you so much.
Okay. So let's have technical conversations a little bit, just for your understanding. So on my presentation, number one, I want to tell you what is this upstream that we are talking about. And then number two, I want to tell you how much does it cost to put up all these facilities that are going to help us to get the oil out of the ground. Number three, once we have the oil out of the ground, how are we going to benefit as a country in terms of money? Then number four, other benefits, employment, technology transfer, skills transfer. Then number five, what can you do to support us, yourselves? And then we will conclude. So let's move. Okay, so when the oil comes to you guys, most of us understand it as petrol, engine, paraffin, and the rest. But that is a refined product. It doesn't start from there. That is the end product. Where it starts in the ground. We look for it with important equipment. We get it out of the ground. And then somebody has to take it where it can be refined into now those different products. Our job is to work with the investors to get it to the surface, not where it's going to be refined. That is another unit that does that. So in the context of this policy, we'll only discuss the upstream. So let's move. So we will go a little bit into details because many people ask, now that you found the oil in 2021, why are you taking long for the oil really to come out of the ground? And when can you expect it to come out of the ground? Because we just want to benefit. So, like Meme said, we have been looking for it. The process of looking for this oil is exploration. It costs a lot of money to look for this oil. And for us, government does not want to put up that money. We want the investors to look for it, get it, and then you can benefit. So that process is called exploration. It can take long, 10 years or so, but once you find it, then you move faster. So now that we find it, what do we need to do next? That is called appraisal. And that appraisal stage is a little bit more expensive also, but it requires that we check what quantities and volumes are available for us to benefit, because it's not good enough to get a small, for example, a small oceana, and then you say you can take it out of the ground. No, you want to get something like a river that can flow from one point to the next. And that process requires us to be drilling every now and then, that appraisal period. So it costs a lot of money, but it can take about maybe 3 years to do that, or even 2 years if it is faster. Then you go to the next stage of putting the infrastructure. That is now development, and I'm a field development manager. So what infrastructures are you going to put up? You need to manufacture a ship from scratch. Some of us know how diamonds are made, are obtained from the sea, De Beers. They have a ship. One of it is named Sem Safishuna Nauyoma. But you have to manufacture that ship from somewhere. Then you put it in the sea to last longer for almost 25 years. So to manufacture a ship can cost a lot of money, and it can take about 3 years. So right now as we speak, we are in conversations on where the ship must be manufactured, what kind of engineers are going to do this kind of work, how much is it going to take to cost us. And then once that is done, we now need to drill other wells that are taking this resource from the ground and put all the infrastructure and integrate them together. So at the end of the day, that can take also a little bit of time. So our initial really estimates are that between 2029, 2020, 2030, somewhere there, we want the oil to come out of the ground as soon as possible, if nothing stops us. But key to this is look at the amount of money that it would cost us to do this, from getting it up to producing it. 300 billion Namibian dollars. Our budget is about 100 billion. At one time, Minister Shimi, when he was the minister, he presented a budget of about, I think, 70 or 80, and people said, Namibia is overspending. Now imagine how much we can spend on just one project, 300 billion Namibian dollars. So it is a lot of money. So we want those investors to spend that money, and then let's see how we can share. So we will now move on to the benefits. After incurring those costs, people say, but why is government not taking 50-50%? Now imagine I'm putting up 300 billion, you didn't put up anything, and then you come to tell me, okay, now let's share 50-50. Obviously, as an investor, I will have to say, let's negotiate, let's discuss. It's your resources, I know, but how are you going to get it? So our law, all the licenses that we give to the operators who have these licenses, it says you must pay for the discoveries being found in our land. That is called royalty. Then, for every profit you make, we must charge you at least about 35% of that profit. Then, if you have recovered that money, 300 billion, because oil money, it costs a lot. It costs a lot to sell it. So you make more money. That's why there's a lot of wars, because people are worried about who is selling, who is doing that, this and this. But those people, once they get their money, it's only fair then that the country can also benefit from more taxes. So there's additional profit tax that we take from there. So when we put all of this together, we can then have an idea as to how much of the revenues that are coming are going to come to the government, and then how much the operator can take. So that pie you are seeing there is just a slice of the different mechanisms that I explained there. When you add them together, the money that we can get, we can charge on a good project about 54%. Remember, some of us, when we get our salaries, we check our pay slip and we say, oh, there's a lot of tax I'm paying. We are very angry at the tax we pay on our salaries. Those people can also pay taxes. So it benefits the country, and that money will go to the state and it will use it for our own benefit. So each region, when it says what will we get, that money collected, it will be distributed according to the government of the day. So the government will know how to make sure that we benefit from those money in terms of infrastructure development. So that is good news. But it can range between 50 and 60 depending on how expensive the project is. So let's go to the impact on the economy. Remember that when we borrow money, they always say, how big is your economy, which is measured in GDP. If we take two projects which are very good, our GDP can be doubled. That means that the amount which you can borrow from outside, from those bankers. In fact, if we make more money, we don't need to borrow. We can even have savings. We can create our welfare fund, which we have put money there, save it for our children. Then we don't have a lot of debt. But our GDP can be doubled. And then you heard about what Meme was saying. Employment. These companies must employ. If I give you an example of a ship, one ship can accommodate about 200 to 300 people at a time. So that means if out of those, 100 people are our own, or even 150 are our own people. So those are employments of people who will be paying taxes even in Namibia. And then also, those catering services, people need to eat on the ship every day. The catering services we're talking about. The equipment need to be replaced and be maintained. So the technology we're talking about, the economy can greatly benefit from there. Let's move. Other opportunities. These other opportunities is an opportunity to diversify